it's a big show.
Welcome to the Fade Route
It's a big bad show tonight.
with DNZ.
Yeah, it's a big show.
Here are your hosts,
Cracking up, telling them lies.
DNZ.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D. Got a great show for you tonight. Few quarterbacks go down. Baker Mayfield changes teams. And we talk about uninspired football in New York. But we'll begin today's show with Major League Baseball free agency. The Phillies are trying to become the 2018 Nationals by adding Trey Turner. The Mets are trying to become the 2011 Tigers by adding Justin Verlander. The Cubs are hoping Cody Bellinger plays like the Cody Bellinger of 2015. And the Yankees are trying not to become the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Z, which team made the best move in your opinion?
Well, as far as moves that were made, you have to like what Houston did with Jose Abreu. Solid bat, keeps him out of the field. I don't think he's going to play a lot of first base for them. A sneaky under the radar one, but you kind of figured once they made this move that something was up. Mitch Haniger going to the Giants, primarily a right fielder, right? So once you saw that Mitch Haniger got his $45 million, that it may not be such a slam dunk that the Giants are going to nail Aaron Judge, that they're going to get Aaron Judge. And lo and behold, they didn't. And apparently, if we believe what we're told, a call from Hal Steinbrenner directly to Aaron Judge sealed this deal, where Hal Steinbrenner asked if he wanted to be a Yankee, and basically, how much money would it take for you to be a Yankee? It was about the years. 9 years, $360 million, and probably the captaincy for Aaron Judge. And that's going to be particularly risky. You know, he's 31 years old. It's going to take him to the age 40 season. He is coming off an MVP, so you wonder if that is going to be the height of his ability and the height of his career. Only time will tell. But I like what Philly's doing. You know, you bring in Taijuan Walker, 4 years, $72 million, a little bit of an overpay, but you know, he's a solid pitcher. I got to witness him for the past 2 seasons on the Mets. You know, you put him with Wheeler, you put him with Nola, and all of a sudden you have a pretty good top 3 to that rotation. Trey Turner, a little bit of a reach. I'm not going to lie. 11 years, $300 million, full no trade. He's going to take a speed guy into his early 40s. I don't know. That seems a little risky for me. But I like that the Yankees kept Judge. I like the Haniger move for the Giants as a consolation prize. And a couple of, sneaky good one. A sneaky good one was Jose Quintana, the Mets, 2 years, $26 million. Like back of the rotation, third or fourth starter type, a lefty. The Mets desperately needed a lefty in that rotation to go with Verlander and to go with Scherzer. So I think that is, is it a sexy splash? No, but it's a solid, capable move. And like those are the ones that really caught my eye. Cody Bellinger is risky, but I have a feeling. I just have this feeling that Cody Bellinger, since he only took a 1-year deal, right?
Yep.
According to the stories, there were multiple multi-year offers for the former MVP, and they're taking it 1 year at a time to rebuild his value. And I like that attitude. That makes him a very dangerous and a very intriguing move. But ultimately, like, it's the Cubs. Like, you really signed him to flip him at the deadline.
Yes.
So we'll see
Yep.
what happens there.
Yeah, do what the Twins didn't do by not flipping Correa, because that's what the Twins should have did. Yeah, I mean, I like the Contreras deal. I like the Cardinals getting their catcher for the future, especially getting it from a rival. You know, I thought that was a savvy move. Yeah, Abreu to the Astros, slam dunk. You might think I'm weird for saying this, but I was actually surprised Kershaw went back to the Cubs. I'm surprised he didn't get more action. Like, to me, it would have made more sense for the Mets to go get Kershaw. We've seen the Verlander Scherzer deal. You're not the 2011 Tigers, so it didn't work for them. It's not going to work for you. Kershaw gives you something different, something you never had before, and he's a lefty. Verlander's coming off a Cy Young win. He's coming off of winning a World Series. He's coming off of 2 years ago, he had Tommy John surgery. So what? Like, that's your gut reaction. That's your knee-jerk reaction is we lost to DeGrom, go get Verlander? I guess. I mean, you beat the Yankees to it because the Yankees really should have got him, or the Blue Jays, another team. Unlike you, I do like Trey Turner to the Phillies. Phillies seem to be going after. They're getting everybody who played against them, man. They're getting everybody who played against them. They're putting together a bully. Really, if you think about it, they got Real Muto, who's a catcher, right? Then they went and got Wheeler, right? They have, they went and got Harper. They're putting together players that have played against them. I like what they're doing. I do. And if you think about it, they were close last year. And I like Trey Turner. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's 11. I mean, come on. Z, would you rather have Trey Turner for 11 years compared to Aaron Judge for 9? Right? You'd rather have Turner, right?
The breakdown is going to be less severe for Trey Turner compared to Aaron Judge, but the highs are going to be higher for Aaron Judge than they are for Trey Turner.
I don't know, man. I don't see it. Again, there's no book on this, right? We've never seen a guy this big, I think the next 4 years are your best years. And the last 5 are just going to be god awful. You're going to be in Stanton land. Right? Now, I was hearing some people talk and say, well, 5 or 6 years into the deal, there's going to be guys making more money than him. He's not going to be the highest paid guy. Man, I don't know about that, because I remember when Harper got his contract. To me, Harper wasn't the best player out there. He wasn't. I didn't think so. I didn't think he was that great. He was good. I felt the Nationals were overpaying for him because they wanted him to stay. Like, I didn't see it as, he was gonna be this god-like baseball player, and he's not. He's okay. Trout was a different story. Now, you saw Mike Trout, and you're like, man, this guy can do everything, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense there. And he's still one of the highest paid guys. So I don't know. I mean, well, we're gonna find out, but you already see it from Yankee fans. Like, okay, yeah, he's back. Now you better produce. Like, that's their response. I mean, I hope he knows what he signed up for. I mean, you're right. He's probably going to get the captaincy, right? He's going to get the captaincy. He's going to become a Yankee captain. But, the facts are still out there. The guy has been with this team for how many years? They haven't won anything. Why now? Who are you adding to this team that's going to make them win? That's what I want to know. You're paying him all this money, right? Who are you bringing in to bat behind him, in front of him, around him? Who's going to shore up this pitching staff? Like, who are you getting? What's happening? So, they re-signed Cashman. he's back probably because Judge is coming back. I'm assuming those went hand in hand. And I think the jury's still out. I don't believe it. I don't see it. I don't really get it.
Well, the Yankees have been linked to Brandon Nimmo. I think that would be a fine fit in center field, provided that they could dump two major albatrosses. They need to dump Donaldson, and they need to dump Hicks.
Yeah.
That is a lot of wasted money. And Brandon Nimmo is going to, I like Brandon Nimmo as a player. He's a nice player. He's a good defensive player. He's made himself into an all-star major leaguer. Is he $30 million a year good? No. Brandon Nimmo is not $30 million a year good. But that is what the market's going to command. Now, are the Mets and Yankees and the Rockies, because Nimmo is from Wyoming, are they going to get into a three-way? Are they going to get into a bidding war over this? Are they going to do this? Are the Giants going to move in on Nimmo now that they lost out on Aaron Judge because they want to add a second outfielder to go with Haniger and to go with Yastrzemski? Do they want, he's the next big domino to fall, in my opinion. And frankly, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
It's got to be Bogarts. Bogarts has got to be the next one to go. It's either Bogarts or Correa. It's got to be one of the shortstops that's the next big one to go. I understand what you're saying about Nimmo, but I don't think Nimmo carries as much value going west. I don't think the Giants and the Rangers and the Mariners are thinking, "Oh, Brandon Nimmo is this great player." I don't think they are. The same thing with with other Mets players. Some of them are they're Mets, man. They're just, they play well for the Mets. They look good in a Met uniform. I don't think other teams are clamoring for Met stars. I just don't think so.
He brings a lot to the table, and I think that any team would benefit from having a guy with his energy, his work ethic. I think he's made himself. I've seen the maturation firsthand, and I've seen the progress. And Brandon Nimmo is a capable, quality major leaguer, so any team would benefit from him. It's just a question of fit. It really just is the question of fit. Is the hometown lore enough to bring him west? The Mariners maybe not, because they have, possibly. You have J-Rod there. You traded Winker. Do you want to replace Winker with Nimmo? Right? You're changing the top of the order. Now you have a guy who gets on base. He's a table setter type guy. That could definitely play. The Rangers don't know what they're doing. So the Rangers are building this monster rotation, but they also, outside of Seager and Simeon, they don't have a roster. It's just not good.
Yeah, what are they doing? They're playing for third place, right? Let's be real. They're playing for third.
Yeah, no, they're trying to keep out of the basement. They're trying to.
You're not better than the you're not better than the Astros. The Mariners are coming. The A's and the Angels, right?
You're just trying to hold off the A's. That's all you're trying to do. And and another one, the Cubs are very intriguing. Hoyer is bringing in. He's bringing in veterans. He got rid of Jason Hayward, but brought in Cody Bellinger, brought in Jameson Tyone. What are we doing? Yeah, 4 years, $68 million for Tyone versus 4 years, $72 million for Walker.
Wild.
I would say the Phillies got the better pitcher. They definitely, and they've had their eye on the Cubs. Have had their eye on Tyone for a while, and I don't know. I just don't see it being successful. As of who's signed right now, who would you see who's not going to be successful at all from jump? Who's just that's a bad idea from the get-go?
Canely.
Interesting.
I don't get it. He was with the Yankees 3 years, right? 2017 to 2020, something like that.
Yeah.
You bringing him back? What's your plan for him? how does he fit into this rotation? How does he fit into this team? Like, that's the big, that aside from Aaron Judge, that's your splash so far, right?
Yeah, Tommy Canley has been your big move.
That's what you're gonna go out and that's what you're gonna put your face on. I mean,
they brought him and Rizzo back. They brought Judge and Rizzo back. So,
I don't really buy. I don't also buy the Cody Bellinger thing either. I mean, he kind of reminds me of the Correa thing. You know, it's like he's betting on himself for a year, but it's like, dude, like, I don't know what was going on in 2015, but you are nowhere near that guy. Like, I literally had to bench you on my fantasy team because that's how bad you were. Like, you know, so I don't see that panning out.
What do you think of Kenley Jansen to the Red Sox?
Odd. I saw that. I was like, oh, okay. Wasn't like I was upset about it. I was like, all right. That's what you got. But they also went and got the Japanese guy.
Yoshida. They just brought him in.
That's their move. All right. You wanna bank on something like that? All right, it's cool. I think you got to bring back Bogarts, but they're not gonna. Where's he gonna go? I'm curious to see where he's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, Philly, they got their guy. Unless they're bringing in both of them, and then he's like, okay, one of you's playing second.
Man, I would love for the Braves to get Bogarts. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but you don't want them bringing back Dansby Swanson?
No, I'm done with Dansby. I'm good.
Interesting.
If you came and won me a World Series, I'm good, man. Like, I was good with Freddie leaving. I'm good with Dansby leaving. It's all good. It's fine. We got to turn it over. We got to keep turning. I don't want to keep bringing the same guys back. You know? You got to keep moving forward.
Do you love brownies? Of course you love brownies. But you know what's better than a brownie? A delicious, handcrafted, gourmet brownie delivered right to your doorstep. That's what our guys at Sweet Life Brownie Co. offer. Chef Tommy D and the crew offer a dozen delicious delights that you will crave, from the classic OB to Dutch apple to campfire s'mores and many more. Check out their website, sweetlifebrownieco.com, for their Friday brownie drops. At noon, their site goes live and you see what they're making. Since you're there, become a site member and earn points. You earn 50 points just by signing up. Make sure you follow on Instagram and Facebook too, at sweetlifebrownie_co, for the latest updates and their latest releases and creations. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com. Give them a call, 845-641-3043, and tell them D&Z sent you. That's sweetlifebrownieco.com, 845-641-3043. Sweet Life Brownie Co., because there's always room for a brownie.
But one person that's not moving forward is Mr. Jimmy G. Oh man, we're moving over to football, guys, and man, two quarterbacks went down this weekend. The 49ers lost Jimmy G to a broken foot in their win over the Dolphins. Impressive win. And the Ravens lost Lamar Jackson in their 1-point. That's right, guys. I said 1-point victory over the Broncos. Let's ride. Z, which team is in more trouble here?
I mean, if you look at it by default, right? Let's think about this. Let's do a quick analysis. Jimmy Garoppolo is being replaced by Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. And Lamar Jackson is being replaced by Huntley.
I love Huntley.
Huntley's solid. Like, he's 1-4 in his career, but it doesn't. The record doesn't measure up to the kid's capabilities.
The 49ers would love to have Huntley right now.
Yeah, I would say so. I think they would like to have a lot of guys. I think that the Niners would like to have a Huntley, would like to have a Colt McCoy, a Case Keenum, somebody in that room who's not Josh Johnson. You know, that was the move, right? It's like, oh shit, Jimmy Garoppolo broke his foot. Let's go get Josh Johnson.
What's the deal with this Kyle Shanahan not being able to keep his quarterbacks healthy? Like, what is the deal with that?
At some point, you just have to chalk up to the fact that it's Jimmy. Because Jimmy
Yeah.
also got hurt in New England. So, as quietly as it's kept, Jimmy is made of glass. So,
Yeah.
as good as he is. But I got to say, it's going to hurt the Ravens a lot more than it hurts the Niners. Because at the same time, Purdy still has McCaffrey. They may have Mitchell. They may not have Mitchell. You have Debo. You have Kittle. You have Ayuk. You have that defense. Like, there's enough in the cupboard that Brock Purdy can just turn around and hand the ball off. And Kyle Shanahan is enough of an offensive mind that he can make up for the fact that this guy is green as grass. Lamar Jackson is that team. Right? Lamar Jackson makes the Ravens go. And as good as Huntley is, I don't know if he's ready to step into into those shoes at this level, because the Ravens are still in the hunt for that division with the Bengals. So, is this kid going to be able to keep the Ravens afloat with a suspect defense and a marginal offense outside of Justin Tucker, we'll say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you because really, everyone's talking about how great the AFC East is. But hey, man, the AFC North, all those teams are still in the hunt for the division title. The Browns and the Steelers are both 5-7. The Browns supposedly just got their starting quarterback back. I would agree with you too, because Lamar is that team. I do think Huntley is proficient enough. I think he's a better answer than what the 49ers have right now. I think he can run the offense. I think he can run the plays. The problem with the Ravens is their defense. It was all, they got lucky against the Broncos, man. They really did. And with the 49ers, two of those teams have already checked out in their division, right? The Rams have checked out. Cardinals are a joke. That team's just a joke. It's not even about them checking out. The Cardinals are 1-6 at home. They're 1-6 at home. You got to be able to take care of business at home, man. To me, it's just interesting how Jimmy G is this guy who wins. He throws touchdowns. He's got yards. And he just can't stay on the damn field, man. And I wonder if this is also going to hurt his free agency. Is this going to hurt him signing with the team next year?
It has to. Because how many times are you going to get injured before you're labeled an injury-prone quarterback? But let's look at the schedules for a second. Going forward, right? We're in week 14. This is where the rubber meets the road. Niners have Tampa Bay this week, at Seattle, not easy. Christmas Eve against the Commanders, who are no slouch. New Year's Day against the Raiders. Say what you will, but they're on a surge right now.
That's right.
And then they finish off with the Cardinals, who are playing probably, in Kingsbury's last game.
Right.
Meanwhile, the Ravens, this is black and blue. Like, you're looking at Steelers this week, Browns next week, Falcons after that on Christmas Eve, New Year's Day against the Steelers again, and then finish off at the Bengals, who may or may not be playing for seeding at that point. So Joe Burrow may be in the lineup. He may not
It's
be
a lot
in the
of
lineup.
division games, man.
That's attrition right there. That is definitely attrition. And there's no guarantee, like I said last week, that the Ravens and the Bengals, one of them is going to end up in the wild card. There's no guarantee that that's accurate. No. This is going to be a battle all the way through. But I was definitely surprised that the immediate move for the Niners was Josh Johnson, especially with the news that Baker Mayfield asked the Carolina Panthers for his release, and they were just like, "Sure, okay."
We're gonna get to Baker, but I mean, the whole thing with that is he had to clear waivers.
Yeah.
So it's not like the 49ers had to wait their turn and the Rams Rams jumped on it first.
But that, it's funny that you said the Rams checked out. That's not a move of a team that's checked out. That's the weird thing, though. Like, a team that checks out doesn't. They roll with Bryce Perkins for the rest of the year. Like, when that just seems like a quizzical move to me.
So you're of the mindset that. So what are you thinking? Why do you think they picked up Baker Mayfield?
Just to fuck the Niners.
Right.
I really think that was
right. That's exactly what I think too. I don't think this was a strategic thing. They're like, fuck you. We know why he asked for his release. He thinks he's gonna go play for you and go to the Super Bowl. No, psych. He's coming here. Get him his plane ticket. He's playing for us for the next couple of weeks. So I like the moves. I like the move by the Rams. I like how they stuck it to the 49ers. But man, how far has Baker fell, man? I mean, that's got to be brutal that you were the number 1 overall pick, Heisman winner, went to the Browns, got the Browns to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
We're beating the Chiefs in the second half. Then you wind up getting hurt. You lose some games. They decide that they're going to bring in a guy who hasn't played football in a whole year, who got drafted well after you got drafted, to be their starter. They trade you to Carolina for a ham sandwich, and you're going to compete with Sam Darnold for the quarterback spot. You win. You win the job. You win the starting job. You play like dog shit, get hurt, benched. Then you go to them, ask them to release you, and they're like, yeah, that's all right.
Like, we'll take the hit. We'll live with the 6th round pick. We don't need it to be a conditional 5th. That's fine. Like,
we're all good, man. You need a plane? You need a plane ticket? We're good, man. We're good. You just get the fuck out of here.
You can start making those Hulu commercials again. Start making those progressive commercials again. Just do what you have to do. Just get the hell out of here.
Just do it somewhere else, man. Just do it somewhere else. And then you must have thought that you were going to get picked up by the 49ers, be their savior, and then the 4-9 Rams call you and say, hey, man, get on a plane and come our way. You might start on Thursday.
So what are we running here? What are we running here, Coach? You're running for your life.
I don't think of Sean McVay as any kind of quarterback whisperer. I don't think he knows. He's not doing anything special there. In fact, I think they're going to be running the ball a lot more.
With this roster, Jesus Christ himself could line up under center, and I don't think he would make a difference. Because this is a very Cooper Kupp heavy team. Cam Akers is giving you nothing. Like, Odell Beckham is not there. So, Allen Robinson isn't there. Tyler Higbee, I think, is your number 2 at this point. It's a shit show. It's just not impressive whatsoever. They're better off starting Bryce Perkins. They really are. This reminds me, Baker Mayfield, you remember in 2000 when the Yankees were like teetering on the periphery of the playoffs, possibly backing into the playoffs with a division win, and they claimed Jose Canseco off waivers.
Yeah,
just to keep him away from the Red Sox. That's exactly what this was. And then I had to prove to my sister that Jose Canseco was actually on the Yankees because he never played. He was there, he was in uniform, but he never played. And I showed my sister the footage of Jose Canseco jumping around, raising his arms in victory when the Yankees won.
He was the first. He was the
first one out of the dugout.
First one out of the dugout, and first one on the pile. And Joe Torre actually told a funny story about when they acquired him. He's like, I didn't know what to say. So he came into my office. He's like, listen, I just want you to know you're not gonna play every day. You know what I mean? We got other guys here that are playing. And he was very disappointed, but he kind of understood. And he was like, I was surprised. I thought he was going to give me more lip and give me more of a hard time about it. But, man, he was the first person out of the dugout when we won. And he was the first person on the pile, so whatever.
Exactly. So, I mean, does that comparison hold true for Baker Mayfield? He seems like the type.
It just seems like this is his last stop. I think it's his last. I mean, the Carolina Panthers are dog shit. You went to them and asked for a release, and they said sure. That's gotta be a red flag, man. Like Mike White is throwing for over 300 yards a weekend and a touchdown or two. You can't even get on the field. You're fucking backing up Sam Darnold. And this weekend you're gonna be backing up Wolford because he's not gonna play on Thursday.
No, definitely not. The Texans went back to Davis Mills. They had the number one waiver claim. They're like, no, we're good.
No, we're good, man. We're fucking
We're
good.
good.
We're fucking gonna ride this out. We don't need this guy here. And I just think I think it's wild. Like I thought he was gonna be better. I really did. I really thought this was a good opportunity for him. He was gonna connect with DJ Moore, and they were gonna run a. He can't do anything. He fucking can't do anything. And then you see Deshaun Watson wasn't, he wasn't really playing that well this past weekend. But when you saw Watson's the better quarterback, and it's like you see all these other guys in the league right now, they're just better than you. It's like, what the fuck happened? Your progressive commercials are better than the way you play on the damn field.
It sounds about right. And, he wants to resist the comparison to Johnny Manziel.
But he is.
Rightfully so. He's Johnny Manziel.
He's Johnny Manziel without the beer and without the alcohol and the drugs. Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, Baker had the swagger sober. So, I guess that, the chip on his shoulder was there sober. So, I guess there's something to be said for that. But at the same time, it's like, it wears thin. Like, we're now hearing stuff about Zach Wilson and how he wore himself thin. I'm sure the rah-rah chip on his shoulder stuff, the commercials, the I'm feeling dangerous, it wears it. Right.
I forgot about that.
Who's wearing out his welcome faster? Clearly it's Baker because he's gone, but you got to figure that's some Russell Wilson energy.
Avoid messy accidents. Get better stopping power with your brake pads. Callahan brake pads. You never know when you'll be driving in the road and there will be a truck tire that you need to avoid and save your family. Callahan Auto. We really care about what's under your hood. Maybe listen, we can move on down the line to the New York quarterbacks.
Certainly can.
Yeah, so the Giants decided to tie the Commanders over the weekend at home. And the Jets lost by one score to the Minnesota Vikings. But Z, which New York team had the better day? My answer might surprise you.
Well, they're still alive in the playoff hunt. Both teams are still alive in the playoff hunt. The Giants, if you look at the stats and if you look at how they were able to move the ball on a stout defense. Yes, Chase Young was not there, but they still have Sweat. They still have guys on that roster. Daniel Jones didn't embarrass himself. The offensive line is still a question mark. He got sacked 4 times. Now, run game, not great. The running game is not great. It just isn't. But I gotta say, the Jets played more aggressively. Once you get to that point, the Giants, they came from behind, and then it became, all right, I guess we're just gonna try and hold on. Gano missed a field goal. It happens. But there are a lot of bright spots with the Jets. Yes, say what you will about Mike White. He had thrown 57 times. He threw 57 times.
57 times.
57 times. No touchdowns, 2 picks. Not in terms of results.
He had a rushing touchdown.
He did have a rushing touchdown. He did. But 2 picks, got sacked once. He's back to pass 57 times. That's what happens when you're playing from behind. You got to be more aggressive, and you have to throw the ball. That's what you have to do in this league. Compared to Cousins, Kirk Cousins had 173 and a touchdown. He didn't really need to do that much. Mike White, if he is careful with the football, if he's more careful with the football, Jets are onto something.
How
That's
about
2
Zach?
weeks in a row.
How about Zach Wilson was the third string quarterback this past weekend, and he's going to be the third string quarterback this weekend up in Buffalo. How about that?
I think it's fine. Like it shows you how the mighty, well, allegedly mighty, have fallen, and they're having him watch. It's better than him not dressing. It's better than him not being there. Like he needs to. I mean, maybe he needs to hold the clipboard for a little bit. And you know what? That's probably what should have happened to begin with. You don't push him. You didn't push Darnold. You didn't push Sanchez. The Jets have not learned from history.
No.
How many times did they have to do this?
Right.
But it looks like they're onto something with White, at least in the short term. And Bam Knight, Zonovan Knight, that's 2 weeks in a row where he's shown flashes. Like Zonovan Knight, he might be a player in this league. He definitely might be in a player in this league. But I mean, both teams, both the Giants and the Jets, have some promise there. I think the Jets got more out of going toe-to-toe with a 10-2 team than tying a 7-5 team. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I thought the Giants had the better day.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the Commanders have a really good defense. I like Chuck Del Rio as the coordinator. I like Ron Rivera as the head coach. They know defense. They know how to give you problems. They know how to get you stuck. They didn't lose the game. They tied. They're still in prime, like you said. They're still in position where they can still make the playoffs. They're technically in third place, but they're gonna have time to. They're gonna have the opportunity to move into second. They're gonna have an opportunity to make the playoffs here. Now, the reason why I think the Jets had the worst day is for a couple of reasons. Like I said. You took your starting quarterback who said something 2 weeks ago, and now for the second week in a row, he's the third string quarterback. You didn't elevate him to second string. This is your first round pick. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a situation where, instead of taking him, you could have possibly taken Micah Parsons. Could you imagine? The Jets had Parsons and Mobley and Sauce Gardner on that defense. You don't get rewarded for missing on a top 5 pick. You can't elude that. So the fact that this kid's not even dressing and he's not being a part of it, that's bad. That's bad. Then to add insult to injury, you got players on the team wearing t-shirts that say Mike effing White or are supporting Mike White in the face of your second pick overall. Then on the day of the game, they're clowning and they're wearing Mighty Ducks jerseys with Mike White wearing the captaincy of the Mighty Ducks jersey and all of them joking around saying flying V. But this is the culture you've created. Instead of everybody wearing suits and being serious and showing up in Minnesota ready to take on a 10-2 team, they're clowning around with a guy who a couple weeks ago wasn't sure if he was going to have a job on Sunday. And this is the problem with the New York Jets. They've not taken this opportunity seriously. You had a chance to beat a Vikings team. You lost by a touchdown. You had a chance to beat that team on a week where New England lost. On a week when Miami lost. You had a chance to move yourself into good position. Now, you're going up to Buffalo. Now, Mike White in a dome threw for 300 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Now he's going outside to Buffalo in December to a team that lost to Zach Wilson a couple weeks ago. How do you think this is going to play out, Z? How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, I think that the best way for the Jets to stick with the Bills is they have to pull the old Super Bowl New York Giants on them. Ball control, ball control, ball control. Josh Allen cannot beat you if he's on the sidelines watching. So that means a heavy dose of James Robinson, a heavy dose of Bam Knight, a heavy dose of Michael Carter, and then a little bit of Mike White. You sprinkle in some Mike White. And I think that is a definite key to victory. Do I think the Jets are going to do this? No. You have a pissed off Buffalo Bills team going in there looking for revenge. Right? So I do not think for a second that the Jets can pull this off. So
I don't think you're in the area where you can clown around and fuck around. You're not. You should come to every game ready to play. You have done nothing. You've accomplished nothing. You're facing a team that is far superior to you. There's got to be some seriousness when you show up to the game. I always think back to when the Knicks were playing the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals, and on the way to the court, the Bulls were ready to play. They're mic'd. What time is it? Game time. Who ready to go? The Knicks are singing "Attack of the Baldies." I don't need to tell you what happened in that game because I think it's pretty evident what Michael Jordan did in that game and how it ended.
Yeah.
So, you haven't done anything. You haven't earned the ability or the right to act like that or do these things before a game, and that's the problem with the culture of the team and of the organization. That's why it's a clown. It's a shit show.
I don't know, but would you argue that Joe Madden with the Rays was a clown show?
You know what? I think baseball is a little different because it's 162 games. You can't take it all so seriously all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta relax because it gets played out. If you're serious for 162 games in baseball, by game 17, it's like, all right, we're out. You can't take it seriously. Then in football, especially in December, on a weekend where you had a chance, like I said, to pick up ground, you guys are wearing Mighty Ducks jerseys and fucking around. It's not business. It's not serious. It's Tom Brady's not showing up to games like a clown. He's walking. He's going through his thing. And you're bringing more attention to this thing than not. And listen, I don't care for Zach Wilson. I really don't give a shit what happens to the guy. But how do you think that makes him feel? He was the number 2 pick in the draft. How do you think it makes him feel to see other players rallying around this guy and joking around with this guy, and he can't even dress? Not alone, just he can't even dress for the game, and he's 5-2 as a starter.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You're sending the wrong message. He's sending the wrong message. How is he ever supposed to come back from this? Right?
He's
Because
not.
that's the goal. Well, no, Salah said the goal is to have him play again this year. That's the head coach talking.
Yeah, he can play. He can play once they're eliminated from the playoffs. Once they're done, once they're mathematically eliminated, good. Send the kid back out there. Send mini Jim McMahon back out there. But look at the roster. Look at the draft order. Right. Number 2. He went number 2. Lance went 3. Pitts went 4. Chase went 5. Waddle 6. Sewell 7. Any of those guys would help your offense. Any of them. J.C. Horn went 8. You don't get Sauce Gardner, but can you imagine J.C. Horn instead? He's not bad.
Why not?
Sir Patrick Surtain, not bad. Like Devontae Smith at 10. Hell, Justin Fields went 11. Like any of those guys would be doing a hell of a lot more than Wilson is. We had our reservations about him coming out of college, and he's proven us right. It's unfortunate that he's proving us right with our reservations. But at this time, he has not done enough. Yes, he's 5-2 as a starter this year, but what did he do in those wins? Not a whole hell of a lot. Not a whole hell of a lot at all. Breece Hall, right? Remember Breece Hall? He was the catalyst for a few of those wins, and they've been riding their defense. Zach Wilson was a caretaker. Zach Wilson was a game manager. And even then, he wasn't that great of a game manager. Like, of the more recent vintage of Jets quarterbacks, the greatest game manager they had was Mark Sanchez. And Zach Wilson, was no Mark Sanchez.
Need some last-minute fantasy football advice? Then the boys at the Fade Route have you covered. Tune in every NFL Sunday to Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z. D and I give you our top 1, 2, 3 fantasy starts, or green light, and fantasy sits, or red light. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 every NFL Sunday during the season. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get the Fade Route. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z. Every NFL Sunday during the season. The choice is yours. Swipe left or swipe right.
All right, boys and girls, particularly you online dating fans, it's cuffing season after all. We give you a statement. You either swipe left or you swipe right. Swipe left, swipe right. Number 1, the Bills' defense without Von Miller.
Yeah, I'm swiping right on this. I think they'll be fine. They were fine last year. I mean, they basically just brought him in to be a closer. You know, they brought him in to chase down Pat Mahomes, and they brought him in to chase down Joe Burrow late in games. I think it's going to suck that they don't have him, but I think they're going to be okay.
I'm going to swipe right as well. They have a very loaded defense. Yes, he's the middle linebacker or the right defensive end, depending on how they're aligning him. But Von Miller is a cog in a very deep rotation. Rousseau, Basham, Ed Oliver, Shaq Lawson, Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano on the strong side, Trey White, Jordan Poyer, Xavier Rhodes. Jaquan Johnson's not bad as a free safety. If Micah Hyde can make it back, he probably won't, but Micah Hyde was on this team. Solid player. Epinesa is not bad. AJ Klein's pretty decent. Like you're deep. You are deep in the 4-3, right? You have plenty of firepower there to withstand the loss of Von Miller. The one thing that it's going to really affect is that it's going to affect their pass rush. Von Miller is their leader in sacks at 8. So he has 21 tackles and 8 sacks on the year. Where are they going to make up for that? Is it going to be Epinesa? Is it going to be a guy like Klein who is going to fill that void? I really don't know. I don't know who it's going to be, but they are deep enough. They're absolutely deep enough that they can make this happen. And DeMar Hamlin and Tremaine Edwards, they're the leaders in total tackles. So they have plenty of horses, and come playoff time, I think they'll be able to figure out, especially with Sean McDermott, a defensive head coach, they'll be able to figure out schemes and ways to get to the quarterback. Swipe left or swipe right. Number 2, Odell Beckham Jr. in the playoffs for 2023.
I'm swiping left. I mean, the Cowboys are basically blocking on him because of his physical. I don't think anyone outside of the Chiefs really need him. I stress need him come playoff time. There's question marks about him, his ability, his character. Just don't think he's as coveted as he thinks he is.
I'm swiping right. I think that if he's healthy, he is going to play a role. He definitely is. Now, the question is who? The Bills are interested. We know that. But do the Bills really need him? I would argue no. Diggs, Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis, McKenzie. I don't see that as a fit. I really don't. The Giants need a number one. They desperately need a number one. Darius Slayton, my God. Darius Slayton is proving to be a 2 with the potential to be a 1, not a true 1. Now, the last time the Giants were playoff bound and Odell Beckham was on the team, it was the infamous boat game. So, he tanked all of their careers. And Victor Cruz. He took Victor Cruz down with him. Why Victor Cruz was on the boat, I don't know. But he was there. Everybody was shirtless in Tim's, and they were refusing Adderall. That's what I remember about the boat. Odell Beckham was there. Now, since then, he hasn't necessarily matured, but he has definitely kind of found his niche as a player. He's found his niche in the league, and the Giants could definitely use him. The Chiefs, it's an interesting fit. The Chiefs are an interesting fit from the standpoint that they could use him, but I don't know if it's necessarily need, right? You have Juju, you have MVS. Like, they could benefit from having an additional veteran, especially if Mecole Hardman, continues to miss time. I know he's missed a lot of time this year, so they can always use that. And Odell Beckham Jr. has returned punts in the past. So even if it becomes a special teams ace, that would be a pretty good versatile bet. But of the teams that are in contention, it's either the Chiefs or the Giants. And he'll have a more prominent role on the Giants than he will on the Chiefs. Swipe left or swipe right. Number 3, Brazil in the World Cup.
I'm swiping right. I mean, without teams like Italy, Germany, Spain, I think was recently eliminated.
In PKs to Morocco.
Yeah, I mean, their path to the World Cup is just wide open right now, so you gotta love it.
I'm swiping left. As far as them winning the World Cup, they have to go through Argentina. Literally, they have to go through Argentina in this next round, and they may draw France, they may draw England, or they may draw Portugal. Of those 3, I don't like Portugal's chances, but you have the reigning defending World Cup champion in France, Kylian Mbappe. They can definitely give Brazil a run for their money. And then pretty much the entire English Premier League is on. Seriously, you have Raheem Sterling, that's a crazy story if you heard about Raheem Sterling with the home invasion. He left Qatar and he's coming back. But Raheem Sterling, you have Harry Kane, you have Stones, it's down to everybody on that team starts in the EPL. That's hard. That's definitely that's going to be a difficult draw. And again, there's no guarantee you're even going to get past Lionel Messi in Argentina. What bothers me is how arrogant they are, right? And you want to say, oh, joy for the game. South Korea had no shot against Brazil. But the dancing, the histrionics, the rubbing your nose in the opponent's face, it's poor sportsmanship. It sets a bad precedent and it puts a bad taste in your mouth. That if you watch these guys, you actively want them to lose. And credit to South Korea, because I know that it must have eaten them up. And they did not retaliate whatsoever. They did not change the way they played. They did not start going in for challenges with their studs up. They didn't get super aggressive and handsy. They played their game. But Brazil is not going to be able to pull that shit against any of the remaining opponents. So, I mean, they're super talented, but their arrogance is going to be their downfall, just like it was for Spain. Swipe left or swipe right, number 4, Anthony Davis for MVP.
I'm swiping right on this so far. I mean, I know he left last night's game early. But, I mean, over his last 3 games, not counting last night, he's averaging 42 points, 10 boards, 3 blocks. We all said for the Lakers to be relevant, AD needed to win the MVP. I like it. It's looking like a decent bet so far.
I mean, you have to swipe right on this, provided, again, that he's healthy.
Street clothes.
Yeah. Surprisingly, that's not listed under his nicknames on basketballreference.com. Like it should be. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful nickname. But this year, so far in 21 games, he's averaging 27.3 points a game and 12 rebounds. So he's doing what he needs to do. It's one of many. It's too early. It's 21 games. You know, Giannis is a perennial contender. You could always go with a Steph Curry if you wanted to. There's always a list of players that you're confident are going to be in the conversation. You know, you have, on his own team. Like if the Lakers get hot and LeBron's doing well, they won't find their way to give it to LeBron. They won't find their way to do that. Donovan Mitchell is playing well. Jason Tatum, you definitely can. You have your pick at this point. And at 21 games, like MVP, it seems a little far-fetched at the beginning, but just be thankful. Laker fans need to be thankful that he's actually playing consistently, because this is what you signed up for when you made that trade, because so many young assets were going back to New Orleans, and this is the promise. This was the hope that you were sold, and he's finally apparently delivering.
Are you in need of air care maintenance or service? I have the company for you. Air Care Technicians. They service the Westchester and Northern Bronx area and can help you with all your heating and cooling, maintenance, and service needs. Just give them a call at 914-315-1547. Again, that's 914-315-1547. Or shoot them an email at aircaretechnicians@gmail.com. These guys are the real deal, as they are veteran-owned, licensed, and insured. Make sure to tell them that D&Z sent you.
The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
All right, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. We have a poll on our Twitter page at FadeRouteDNZ, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote, and you vote. And the winner of said vote gets a shout out on this here show and the coveted ass trophy. And do you know who took home the coveted ass trophy last week, D?
Hey, don't.
Jerry Jones.
That guy.
That guy. Jerry. Oh, Jerry. Like, what are you doing? I get it. 15 years old, Arkansas. Like, I understand. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. Not a good look at all. And you can do something about it. But that was last week. This was this week. Who are your nominees for Alleged Superstar of the Week, D?
All right, first up, I've got John Robinson, former GM of the Titans was fired after the A.J. Brown, the player he traded away, torched the Titans on Sunday for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Can't miss on trades, can't miss on draft picks. John Robinson, you're my Legend Superstar of the Week. The next is the New York Mets ownership. You lose Jacob deGrom, and your first reaction is to sign Justin Verlander. Why didn't you sign him last year? Why didn't you sign him 3 years ago? Slow to the table. New York Mets ownership. You're my Legend Superstar of the Week. And last, and certainly one of the least, Mr. Baker Mayfield. The former overall #1 pick and Heisman Trophy winner asked for his release from the Panthers, and it was granted in less than a second. Then he cleared waivers all the way to the Rams. My man, how far have you fallen? Baker Mayfield, you're my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Z, what do you got?
All good choices. All good choices. I'm going to start with the Dallas Cowboys. It looks like your meeting with Mr. Beckham did not go so well, to where you're leaking the results of his physical to the media to try and poison the well. Not a good look. That's not a good look. Dallas Cowboys, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Deion Sanders. Jackson State, right? You're the SWAC champion. For one, you take the job at Colorado, right? Boulder's a lovely city, a lovely little town. Yeah, no. You're just going to be another fish in the pond, man. Another fish in that pond. And then walking in, your introductory press conferences said, I met with the team. I met with the players and said, start going in the transfer portal now, guys. Well, that's nice. That's nice. I want nothing to do with you. Perfect. That is fantastic. Deion Sanders, your arrogance is Brazilian. We're going to see that you better deliver. Because if you don't, you're going to be out on your ass very quickly. Deion Sanders, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And then last but not least, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's back. Getting into it with the coach of the Portuguese national team, not wanting to be subbed off, and losing your starting spot on a Portuguese national team that desperately needs you. In fact, unless you're an avid soccer head, you probably cannot name a member of the Portuguese national team that is not named Cristiano Ronaldo. When they get to the finals, the conference finals, their side finals against either England or France, it's France versus Cristiano Ronaldo, or the entire English Premier League against Cristiano Ronaldo. This is what we're talking about here. And you cannot be a petulant child. I understand you just got this new lucrative deal in Saudi Arabia. But think about why you got that lucrative deal in Saudi Arabia. Because you pissed and moaned your way out of Manchester United over playing time and over the direction of the club. And now you're doing it on the national level for your country. Cristiano Ronaldo, you are my alleged superstar of the week. We said our piece. Go to our Twitter poll and vote and vote and vote and vote for our nominees. Just do better, boys. Just do better.
Looking to break into broadcast media, web development, social media marketing, or filmmaking? Then CSB is the program for you. From day one, you'll be trained hands-on by industry pros like friend of the show Rob Adams, whose goal is to get you trained and get you working in months, not years. CSB offers 8 and 16-week programs in small class sizes designed to give you the personalized attention you need. If you can make it in person, there are 5 East Coast locations. If you can't, they offer virtual classes too. How great is that? And once you graduate, you become part of the alumni network that gets you to the front of the line. Trust me, I'm an alum myself. Go to gocsb.com today, request more info, set up a studio tour, and who knows, you may very well be on your way to a career in broadcast media. That's gocsb.com and tell them Z sent you. gocsb.com. Let's run the option and give you our picks for the week.
It is the option for NFL Week 14. We're getting close, folks. It is time for the rubber to meet the road. And if you still not have joined our CBS Pick'em League, The Option, go to our link in bio at Fade Route Podcast and join today. We have a tight race going on. Last week, Ready, Willing, and Dable, the lovely Rita Sanchez of Austin AYSO, took home 13 wins. 13 wins, enough to put her into a first place tie with yours truly. It's a tight race. D and Foxy are 1 point behind, and Zach, he's coming on strong. Let's see what you got, guys. Let's see what you got. We're starting off Thursday. Tomorrow night, Amazon Prime, SoFi Stadium in lovely Englewood, California. The 5-7 surging Las Vegas Raiders take on the 3-9 Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, this should be an easy one for the Raiders, but I think it'll be high scoring.
This is the kind of game the Raiders lose. This is the, heavy favorite, expectations, have the ability to possibly get back into things. This is the one that they choke. But not this year. The Raiders are going to take this one home. Josh Jacobs. Play him. Start him. Let him run wild. Because he's gonna. Sunday. The 7-5 New York Jets go into Orchard Park to take on the 9-3 Buffalo Bills.
Bills.
Yeah. It's gonna be a beating. It's gonna be a beatdown. Bills are gonna take this one pretty handily, and the funny thing is that Mike White's not even gonna play that badly. Josh Allen's gonna shred that D. Sauce Gardner's going to get cooked by Stephon Diggs at least twice. The 5-7 Browns go into Cincinnati to take on the 8-4 Bengals.
But I feel like the Browns could totally win the game by playing the Bengals.
Division matchup. Browns are still in it exactly where they wanted to be thanks to Jacoby Brissett. Bengals O-line is improved. Bengals are getting healthy. I like their chances. I think the Bengals take this by a touchdown. The Battle of Texas. The 1-10-1 Texans going back to Davis Mills. Kyle Allen, see ya. They go into Jerry World to take on the 9-3 Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas.
Yeah. They're coming off of hanging 54 on the Colts. What the hell are they going to do to the Texans? That's what I want to know. Over under 1 quarter being played by Cooper Rush this week.
Under.
Interesting. Close game, I see.
They play deep. The Texans actually play decent defense.
Well, we're going to see. Because they may play decent defense, but the Cowboys are stout. The Cowboys are definitely stout. The 10-2 Vikings go into Detroit to take on the 5-7 Lions.
Lions.
We're in agreement. I think the Lions will do what the Titans could not do last week. They're going to punch this team in the mouth, and they're going to show that they're the real tiger, and the Titans are just a paper tiger. Lions, Tigers, we didn't get to the Bears yet, so oh my. The 11-1 Eagles go into MetLife Stadium to take on the 7-4-1 New York Football Giants.
Eagles.
I want to take the Giants. I do. My heart wants to take the Giants. This Eagles team is loaded for bear. Could the Giants pull an upset? Sure. Sure, why not? But I don't see it. Eagles, relatively close. Another division matchup. The 8-4 Baltimore Ravens go into whatever they're calling Heinz Field these days to take on the 5-7 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens are. They should. Steelers are coming on strong though. Like, they had a good game last week against the Falcons. Najee Harris looked like a beast, smashing guys into the ground. So it's going to be close. It's going to be a slugfest. The Ravens take it. Justin Tucker. The 4-8 Jaguars at the 7-5 Titans. I'm going to take the Jags. Trevor Lawrence got hurt, but he's going to play. The Titans, they have no identity. They lack identity. Yeah, they're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry's been proven mortal this year. And Ryan Tannehill's still your quarterback. So I really don't know. I was very bullish on them last week, and I paid for that. So Jaguars by a touchdown. We're into the 4 o'clock hour now. The 9-3 Chiefs go into Mile High to take on the 3-9 Denver Broncos.
Chiefs.
How about them Chiefs? Yeah. The Broncos are going nowhere fast. Hackett's probably the next coach fired, and who knows what the hell's going on, but Chiefs in a rout. 4:25, the 4-8 Panthers, sans Baker Mayfield, go into Lumen Field to take on the 7-5 Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be interesting because Walker's hurt. So we're going to see if he'll, what's going on with that. But I like what the Seahawks are doing. They play defense. Geno Smith is doing a great job. The Panthers are hanging tough. They're just not talented enough. Seahawks win. The 6-6 Bucks go into Santa Clara to take on the 8-4 San Francisco 49ers.
Bucks.
A little less drama now that Jimmy G's not under center, right? Brady versus Jimmy would have been a heck of a storyline. But I don't know. I like the Niners. I think I'm going to roll with the Niners. They still are star-studded. I mean, Todd Bowles isn't Bill Belichick. He's not exactly going to confuse Mr. Purdy. And Mr. Purdy's not going to have to do too much. Hand the ball off to CMC. Debo out of the backfield. Niners got this one. Your Sunday night special, the 8-4 Dolphins go into SoFi to take on the 6-6 Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh, Dolphins.
I'm going to take the Dolphins as well. The Chargers are circling the drain fast, and I wonder if Coach Staley is feeling the pressure of the specter of Sean Payton looming over him. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and if you want to keep your job, you might want to pull a rabbit out of your hat, Coach. I'm just saying. But Dolphins pretty comfortably. And your Monday night delight. I don't know, delightful to somebody, I suppose. The 6-6 New England Patriots at the 4-8 Arizona Cardinals.
Patriots.
Both teams aren't very good. Flat out. Both teams aren't very good. I do like the Patriots' run game, and they do play defense, and that travels. So I'm going to go with the Pats narrowly. Mac Jones is not going to have a stellar game, but with Harris and Stevenson, he won't need to. Teams on a bye this week. Get a piece of paper and pencil because there's plenty of them. The Falcons, the Bears, the Packers, the Colts, the Saints, and the Commanders. All 6 of these teams are on byes. So adjust your fantasy rosters accordingly.
This has been the Fade Route with DNZ. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast Wednesday nights on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay faded, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route, but we'll talk to you next week.
Want to get on the action? We want to hear from you. Hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com. Slide in our DMs on IG at FadeRoutePodcast. Drop us a DM on Twitter at FadeRouteDNZ. Comment on our YouTube channel, The Fade Route with DNZ. Questions, comments, picks, segment suggestions, you name it, we want to hear from you. Get at us, in crowd. Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you like what you heard and want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Rate us 5 stars, leave us a review, turn on subscription notifications, and tell your friends. Spread the word, spread it wide.